Hey, my name is Laura Davis, and I am a time management strategist who helps you ditch the hot mess mom persona and level up to that six-figure mom, regardless of how much money you make. On this bonus episode today, we are going to talk all about my Q2 in review from a time transparency perspective. So, I have seen a ton of business owners out there who will share their income review for a quarter or for a year, and I absolutely love those. But I want to talk about time a little bit because time and money are two of the most valued resources. And I would argue that time is not talked about nearly as much as money. So let's change that and let's dig into a Q2 in review of how I spent my time as a business owner who also works full time in corporate America while balancing mom life, being a wife, all of those things. And I'd also love your feedback on this episode. This is the very first time that I'm doing this. And, leave your feedback in the comments. Was this helpful? Was it interesting to you? What did you like about it? You can also reach out to me on Instagram, give me your feedback there if you have any questions or anything like that. I would just love to hear from you. So this episode, just to give you a forewarning, is data heavy. And we're breaking down the actual data of where my time went in Q2. So there's a lot of numbers here to go through. So just buckle up because there's a lot of numbers. So the important thing, let's start from a really high level. And that is that Q2 is made up of 91 days. So Q2 spans April 1st to June 30th this year. That is 13 weeks, 91 days, and 2,184 hours. The hours are really important because one of the principles that I teach inside of Time Management Academy is to view work-life balance from a 168-hour perspective, which is you get 168 hours in a week instead of a 24-hour lens, which is only a day. And that's another topic for another video, which we will do. But just know that the hours are an important factor when we're talking, about our time transparency in review. So let's dig into it. So where did I spend my time in Q2? I'm going to run down each one from the lowest amount of where I spent my time to the highest amount, and I'll give a little bit of context for what was accomplished in that. And then we'll also talk about a little bit of things that weren't done. So I spent 2% of my time doing household management things and chores, which equated to about 52 hours over the quarter, or about 4 hours per week doing household management. I spent 3% of my time driving and or commuting, which was about 65 hours over the entire quarter. And just as a small note here, I do work in corporate America full-time remote from home, but a lot of that drive time and commuting was picking up and dropping off Harper from school daycare, also driving to co-working spaces, driving to other social get-togethers. So all of my driving and commuting equated to about 65 hours. I also spent 3.5% of my time at the barn. So I do ride, I'm an equestrian. That's my big hobby that I have. And that was about 78 hours over the span of the quarter, which is starting to sound like a lot of time, right? 7% of my time, only 7% of my time was spent working on my business, on Time Management Academy. And that equates to about 150 hours over the whole quarter. And I will go ahead and give away one of the things that we're going to talk about, but it was also my most successful quarter that I have ever had. And I only spent 7% of my time in Q2 working on my business. And we'll talk about everything that happened. 23% of my time was spent at my corporate job, which was about 63 working days, which equated to 504 hours over the entire quarter. 29% of my time was spent sleeping. So I do average about 7 hours per night, some were more, some were less, but about 637 hours of sleeping over the entire quarter. And then finally, 32% of my time was spent with family and friends. So this might be doing something fun, relaxing, going for walks, bike rides, dinners, Anything that we took Harper to do that was really fun, anything like that. That's about 700 hours. Now, another important note here is that what you may not have heard me say was anything regarding my health. And here's the thing: I work out 3 days a week, which adds up to less than 1% of my time in the entire quarter. So I work out 3 days a week. I have a very consistent, very healthy workout regimen, and it is less than 1% of my time. I think that that's really important for a lot of women to hear who are questioning whether or not they have time to spend on their health. So, what were some big things that were accomplished this month or that were accomplished in Q2? I had a big work trip for my corporate job to Dallas that lasted a few days. I also was in the middle of strategic planning for my corporate job. So that's where I have to complete an entire strategic plan for the next fiscal year. So our fiscal years at my corporate job run April through the following March. And I had to do an entire strategic plan for my line of business that I'm in charge of for marketing. I also had my annual review at my corporate job where I received a 4 rating. This is important just as another side moment, and I can do an entire episode on this if that would be interesting to you. Let me know. So our company, we only get rated 1 through 5. And our company has a philosophy that we are all high achievers. So if you get a 3, which is right in the middle, you are already considered a high achiever because my company only hires high achievers, right? So that's their philosophy. So if you get a 4 or a 5, you are basically the top 1 to 2% of the company in performance. And I got a 4 this year. And I did that while also building a successful business and running a successful business, spending quality time with Harper, spending quality time with Zach, taking care of my health, all of those things, as you just heard in my percentage breakdown. And I was still able to get into the top 1 to 2% of my company for performance. I also built and launched Master Your Workweek Challenge Master Your Workweek Challenge, if you are not aware, let me just give a plug for that really quick. This is a free 5-day training that I built and implemented in Q2. This is not a fluff training. This is not just something to get your email and then it doesn't actually matter. You get real results with Master Your Workweek Challenge. So if you want to sign up for that, you can at www.thelauraddavis.com/workweek. I also will put the link in the description of the video. I highly recommend doing that. We've seen some great results come out of that free training. I launched that with an 11% conversion rate. So for all of my business owners out there, if you are a business owner in the digital space, 11% conversion rate is more than double the industry standard. So the industry standard is around 5%, if not a little bit lower. And I had that convert at 11%. I also created and implemented a brand new content repurposing strategy for Time Management Academy because I wanted to be able to condense the amount of time I was spending on content creation even more than I already was. I also launched a Pinterest and this YouTube channel and strategies for both of those for Time Management Academy. I was featured on 3 podcasts. I spoke at 1 virtual conference and I did 1 in-person workshop as a guest speaker. And all of that was done in only 7% of my time for the quarter. Oh, I also refined my entire product suite for Time Management Academy and created a roadmap for new offerings that are coming later this year in the second half of 2024. So all of that was done in only 7% of my time. A couple of personal things that happened in Q2. Harper graduated VPK and I got her all registered and set up for kindergarten. Zach bought a new Corvette. That is his thing. He's very excited about that. We also had countless family beach days. I taught Harper how to play Uno. We taught her as a family and we had a really fun Uno night. We also hosted a lot of family and friends at different dinner parties and get-togethers at our house and going to other people's houses. We also do family trivia every single Wednesday. So every Wednesday, we have a family dinner. We go out and we play trivia. We also do weekly meal prepping with Harper. So she really likes to be involved. So we have those memories together, that time spent together doing something that's also healthy and benefits us throughout the week. And Zach and I had several date nights in downtown St. Augustine. And we have a goal to get even more in the second half of 2024. But the point is that we still had them. And I just have to say, like, my mind is completely blown when I'm looking back at this quarter in this way. This was really eye-opening for me. I haven't necessarily dug into the numbers like this before. And I keep saying, I was shocked that I've only spent 7% of my time on my business. And in Q3, I will say that's going to be a lot higher because one of the things that I'm offering in Q3 is an in-person retreat here in St. Augustine that I've partnered up with an accountability coach, and we're hosting that live retreat here in St. Augustine together. So that's going to be a big lift that will require a lot more time for me. And I also have several big trips for my corporate job coming up, one to San Diego, one to Las Vegas, happening in Q3, which is going to be a really great, all of that's happening in Q3. And then Harper starts kindergarten, and that's going to be a whole other level of time commitment that she's going to need, not only for herself, but also me, and not just physical time, but emotional time as well, which I am preparing for now. So the overarching message here to me is that I, in fact, am really well balanced. And sometimes it's helpful to look back and look at the data instead of believing the story that our brain sometimes tries to tell us. Because this even happens to me where I will feel like, oh man, I am spending way too much time working. I need to spend more time with my family, or my health is really falling to the wayside, or I don't feel balanced. I don't have good work-life balance. But when you look at the numbers and you look at the data, that's a story. That is not a story. That is hard fact of how much time you are spending on those things. And I'm also able to do this type of review because of the way that I plan and manage my weeks. I'm able to look back and see definitively how much time was spent on certain things. And, I'm trying to think of some things that didn't get done. One thing that didn't get done was rebranding. I really wanted to do rebranding in Q2. That didn't happen. It is happening now in Q3. Another thing personally that I really wanted to get done was I wanted to get our kitchen remodel underway, and that just did not happen. That had to fall off of the list of things that I was spending my time on. So maybe that'll happen in 2025. I am self-aware enough to know that what's coming the second half of 2024, I don't have time to throw in a renovation in there. So we're going to move that to 2025. What are some other things? We didn't get as much decluttering done as we really wanted to get done in the house. So we're hoping to get some of that done during the holiday breaks that we have throughout the second half of the year. But we're taking that, one step at a time. I have a decluttering plan that we've talked about previously. And, I think that we'll just be able to get there in Q3. So there were a few things that I didn't get done that I really wanted to, but everything that I did get done was such an accomplishment. And I'm so, so, so proud of it. And I'm also proud of the fact that I did it without stressing out, without feeling overwhelmed, and realizing really that work-life balance is in fact there. And so if you're running a business and working full time and you want to feel like you're balanced, you want to feel like that really good flow where you don't feel out of balance, a great place for you to start is that free 5-day Master Your Work Week challenge that I mentioned. And again, you can get signed up for that and grab that free training at www.thelauraddavis.com/workweek. That is a fantastic free place for you to get started on your time management journey. I really hope that today was helpful. I hope that this quarterly review from a time transparency perspective was really helpful. And I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts and your feedback and any questions that you might have in the comments, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at its.laura.davis. I can't wait to connect with you, and I hope that this was helpful.